Howdy, my dear friends. Let me get this little thing down here by my mouth so maybe you can hear me. I don't know if it makes a difference or not. I had errands to run, so I've been shopping, been to the bank, got my Hemi filled up. First time since April of last year, and I forgot how much it cost, but it still had like an eighth of a tank of gas in it, and I hadn't filled it up since April of last year. I just don't go very much, y'all. I'd rather just sit right here and hibernate. And that's what I've been doing all autumn and winter. It is cold. I have been miserable cold today. Went to the hardware store and got me a new stocking hat because the ones I had, I guess I've washed them so many times they lost the what do you call it? Elastic that kept them tight or whatever. Anyway, they just kind of wiggle around on my head now. So I got me a new one at the hardware store and got me a nice 9 by 13 cake pan or whatever you call them. I had some 8 by 8 or 9 by 9, but I didn't have a 9 by 13, so I got one of those. And then I went to Dollar Tree and or Dollar General and Family Dollar and to the grocery store again to get candy because I was running low on candy. Anyway, I'm here for the evening reading through the Bible together, and we are still in Luke for the evening readings, and we are in Leviticus for the morning readings. And goodness gracious, Leviticus is giving me a hard time. Luke, not so much. Luke is okay. All right, so here we go, y'all. Chapter 6 in the book of Luke. And it came to pass on the second Sabbath after the first. Doesn't first always come after second? Well, anyway. And it came to pass on the second Sabbath after the first that he went through the cornfields, and his disciples plucked the ears of corn and did eat, rubbing them in their hands. And certain of the Pharisees said unto them, remember the Pharisees, the scribes and the Pharisees, the hemorrhoids? And certain of the Pharisees said unto them, why do ye that which is not lawful to do on the Sabbath day? And Jesus answered the hemorrhoids and said, have ye not read so much as this, what David did when himself was an hungered, and they which were with him, how he went into the house of God, and did take and eat the showbread, and gave also to them that were with him, which it is not lawful to eat, but for the priests alone? And Jesus said unto them, that the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. Bam! Jesus kind of put them in their place. But hemorrhoids kind of move around and they don't stay in their place for very long. And they continue to be a pain in the butt no matter where they're at. All right, so let me go on here. I took my glasses off so I could see. I got to wear my glasses for when I'm driving, but I don't have to wear them at home. And I can see a whole lot better without them. And it came to pass also on another Sabbath that he entered into the synagogue and taught, and there was a man whose right hand was withered. And the scribes and Pharisees, the hemorrhoids, watched him whether he would heal on the Sabbath day, that they might find an accusation against him. But he, Jesus, knew their thoughts, and said to the man which had the withered hand, rise up, and stand forth in the midst. Sorry about that. And the man arose and stood forth. Then said Jesus unto them, I will ask you one thing. Is it lawful on the Sabbath days to do good or to do evil, to save life or to destroy it? And looking round about upon them all, he said unto the man, Stretch forth thy hand. And the man did so, and his hand was restored whole as the other. And they were filled with madness and communed one with another what they might do to Jesus. And it came to pass in those days that he went out into a mountain to pray, and continued all night in prayer. Friends, I take my prayer life seriously, but only one time in my life that I can recall did I pray all night. And that was the night after I checked myself out of the hospital when they diagnosed me with stage 4 cancer and wanted to start chemo the next day. I told them, nope, Bubba, ain't gonna happen. I went home and I prayed all night long. We need to take our prayer life seriously, just as Jesus did. Y'all, if Jesus had reason to pray all night long, Jesus, being God made flesh, we certainly could benefit from praying all night long occasionally. It did me some good. Yep, it sure did. Jesus showed me all kind of stuff. Jesus is the great physician, among a lot of other things. All right, let me find out where I was at here. And when it was day, he called unto him his disciples, and them he chose 12, whom also he named apostles. Simon, whom he also named Peter. And y'all, as you read the Bible or as you listen to me read it, Simon was the fisherman, remember, that Jesus said, not, you're done fishing, Bubba. I want you to be a fisher of men. He wanted Simon as a fisher of men, a disciple, which right now he's making him an apostle. I forgot where I was going with that now. But anyway, when Jesus calls us, we need to do as Simon did, put down our fishing gear or whatever it is that had us separated from God and follow Jesus. Bam! Period. Exclamation point. End of story. Simon obeyed. He didn't make excuses. He left his livelihood and became obedient to Jesus. He messed up a bunch. Goodness gracious, he messed up a bunch. But he obeyed Jesus. And he changed his name to Peter. But if you'll notice, as you read the Bible from this point on, I'm talking about this point on in Simon's life, Jesus changed his name from Simon to Peter. But every time Simon messed up or every time Peter messed up, Jesus called him Simon again. That makes me laugh every time I see that. And he does it a lot because Peter messed up a lot. Peter was a sinner. And every time he would mess up like that, then Jesus would call him Peter. Even though Jesus is the one that changed his name, Jesus would call him Simon. All right, I'm getting too carried away here. Luke chapter 6, verse 14, Simon, whom he, speaking of Jesus, also named Peter, and Andrew his brother, James and John, Philip and Bartholomew, Matthew and Thomas, James the son of Alphaeus, and Simon called Zelotes, and Judas the brother of James, and Judas Iscariot, which also was the traitor. And he came down with him and stood in the plain, and the company of his disciples, and a great multitude of people out of all Judea and Jerusalem, and from the sea coast of Tyre and Sidon, which came to hear him, and to be healed of their diseases, and they that were vexed with unclean spirits, and they were healed. Just like he healed me, just like he's healed a bunch of people, he healed them. And the whole multitude sought to touch him, for there went virtue out of him and healed them all. And he lifted up his eyes on his disciples and said, here, I'm sorry, Jesus speaking here said, blessed be ye poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. Blessed are ye that hunger now, for ye shall be filled. Blessed are ye that weep now, for ye shall laugh. Blessed are ye when men shall hate you, and when they shall separate you from their company, and shall reproach you, and cast out your name as evil, for the Son of Man's sake. Rejoice ye in that day, and leap for joy, for behold, your reward is great in heaven. For in the like manner did their fathers unto the prophets. Now, that's what I feel like up here. He kind of pretty much described me right there. When men shall hate you, and when they shall separate you from their company, and shall reproach you, and cast out your name as evil. That's why I hate, well, that's one of the reasons I hate it here. I've got a whole arm length of list of reasons I hate it up here. But God sent me up here. I came, didn't know what I was supposed to do when I got here, but I came. And I think I did a pretty good job for him for a year. And don't feel like I'm being very fruitful right now, because everybody here hates me now. But anyway, I'm here till he moves me. And I'm getting too old to move. But you know what? How old was Abraham when he moved him? At 99 or something like that? I got a long way to go before I get to 99. So if he tells me to move again, I reckon I'll move. I just hope it's somewhere warm, because I don't like this cold weather. All right, let me get back on track here. Rejoice ye in that day, and leap for joy. I can't leap for diddly right now. I can barely walk. For behold, your reward is great in heaven, and I don't care about rewards in heaven. I have told God many times, if there is anything I do to earn a crown, a bejeweled crown in heaven, I would gladly trade it in for a cowboy hat. I love wearing my cowboy hats. I am not into bejeweled crowns. But if he should, by any chance, and I doubt he will, but if he does give me a bejeweled crown, I'm going to lay it at the feet of Jesus. I don't want it. And I told him I don't want no mansion either. I'm not into stuff like that. I told him, give me a pallet over in a corner and I'll be happy. Just to be in the presence of my God and my Jesus and the Holy Spirit all the time for all eternity. I don't need a mansion and I don't need fancy crowns. But I don't think I'll ever earn a crown. Because I'm nobody, just an old bald-headed redneck in love with Jesus and all he did for me, this wretched old sinner. Goodness gracious, y'all, he saved my life, and 3 months later, he saved my soul. I'm glad he did it in that order. If he hadn't saved my life, I'd be in hell 22 years already. That scares me every time I think about it. And it makes me cry. Tears of joy that he saved me. It took that to save me, to wake me up. Rejoice ye in that day and leap for joy. This is Jesus speaking. For behold, your reward is great in heaven. For in the like manner did their fathers unto the prophets. But woe unto you that are rich, for ye have received your consolation. And I used to be rich, y'all. I used to be pretty well off. God stripped that away from me. He humbled me like nobody I've ever known. Woe unto you that are full, for ye shall hunger. Woe unto you that laugh now, for ye shall mourn and weep. Woe unto you when all men shall speak well of you, for so did their fathers to the false prophets. They don't speak well of me around here. But I say unto you which hear, love your enemies. Do good to them which hate you. And I do. I'm very nice to these people. And I do things for them. Bless them that curse you, and pray for them which despitefully use you. And I've had that happen too. And unto him that smitteth thee on the one cheek, offer also the other. And him that taketh away thy cloak, forbid not to take thy coat also. Still Jesus speaking. I turned a page, but it's still Jesus speaking. Give to every man that asketh of thee, and of him that taketh away thy goods, ask them not again. Don't ask for them back. And as ye would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise. For if ye love them which love you, what thank have ye? For sinners also love those that love them. And if ye do good to them which do good to you, what thank have ye? For sinners also do even the same. And if ye lend to them of whom ye hope to receive, what thank have ye? For sinners also lend to sinners to receive as much again. But love ye your enemies, and do good, and lend, hoping for nothing again, and your reward shall be great. And ye shall be the children of the highest, for he is kind unto the thankful and to the evil. Be ye therefore merciful as your Father also is merciful. Judge not, and ye shall not be judged. Condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned. Forgive, and ye shall be forgiven. Give, and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down and shaken together, and running over, shall men give into your bosom. For with the same measure that ye mete withal, it shall be measured to you again. And Jesus spake a parable unto them. Can the blind lead the blind? Shall they not both fall into the ditch? The disciples is not above his master, but everyone that is perfect shall be as his master. Hang on just a second, y'all. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but perceivest not the beam that is in your own eye? This is almost identical to Matthew 7:22 and the surrounding verses to 22. Either how canst thou say to thy brother, Brother, let me pull out the mote that is in thine eye, when thou thyself beholdest not the beam that is in thine own eye? Thou hypocrite, cast out first the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to pull out the mote that is in thy brother's eye. And a mote is a speck. He's saying, get the beam out of your eye before you get the speck out of your brother's eye. For a good tree bringeth not forth corrupt fruit, neither doth a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. For every tree is known by its own fruit. For of thorns men do not gather figs, nor of a bramble bush gather they grapes. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is good, and an evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is evil. For of the abundance of the heart his mouth speaketh. And why call ye me Lord, Lord, and do not the things which I say? That, my dear friends, we got to be careful of. How can we call him Lord if we don't obey him? Is he really our Lord if we don't obey him? I don't think so. Whosoever cometh to me and heareth my sayings and doeth them, I will show you to whom he is like. He is like a man which built a house and digged deep and laid the foundation on a rock. And when the flood arose, the stream beat vehemently upon that house and could not shake it, for it was founded on a rock. But he that heareth and doeth not is like a man that without a foundation built a house upon the earth, which against which the stream did beat vehemently, and immediately it fell, and the ruin of that house was great. Now, when he had ended all of his sayings in the audience of the people, he entered into Capernaum. And a certain centurion's servant, who was dear unto him, was sick and ready to die. And when he heard of Jesus, he sent unto him the elders of the Jews, beseeching him that he would come and heal his servant. And when they came to Jesus, they besought him instantly, saying that he was worthy for whom he should do this, for he loveth our nation, and he hath built us a synagogue. Then Jesus went with them, and when he was now not far from the house, the centurion sent friends to him, saying unto him, Lord, trouble not thyself, for I am not worthy that thou shouldest enter under my roof. I'm not worthy either, but if he came here, I would rip the door off the hinges to let him in if I had to. Wherefore neither thought I myself worthy to come unto thee, but say in a word, and my servant shall be healed. That, my friends, is faith. That is what faith is like. For I also am a man set under authority, having under me soldiers, and I say unto one, Go, and he goeth, and to another, Come, and he cometh, and to my servant, Do this, and he doeth it. When Jesus heard these things, he marveled at him, and turned him about, and said unto the people that followed him, I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. And they that were sent returning to the house, found the servant whole that had been sick. And it came to pass the day after that he went into a city called Nain, and many of his disciples went with him, and much people. Now when he came nigh to the gate of the city, behold, there was a dead man carried out, the only son of his mother, and she was a widow, and much people of the city was with her. And when the Lord saw her, he had compassion on her, and said unto her, Weep not. And he came and touched the bier, and they that bare him stood still, and he said, Young man, I say unto thee, arise. And he that was dead sat up and began to speak, and he delivered him to his mother. And there came a fear on all, and they glorified God, saying that a great prophet is risen up among us, and that God hath visited his people. And this rumor of him went forth throughout all Judea and throughout all the region round about, and the disciples of John showed him of all these things. And John, calling unto him 2 of his disciples, sent them to Jesus, saying, Art thou he that should come, or look we for another? And when the men were come unto him, they said, John Baptist hath sent us unto thee, saying, Art thou he that should come, or look we for another? And in that same hour he cured many of their infirmities and plagues, and of evil spirits, and unto many that were blind he gave sight. Then Jesus answering said unto them, Go your way, and tell John what things ye have seen and heard, how that the blind see, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, and the deaf hear, the dead are raised to the poor, the gospel is preached. And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. And when the messengers of John were departed, he began to speak unto the people concerning John. What went ye out into the wilderness for to see? A reed shaken with the wind? But what went ye out for to see? A man clothed in soft raiment? Behold, they which are gorgeously apparelled and live delicately are in kings' courts. But what went ye out for to see? A prophet? Yea, I say unto you, and much more than a prophet. This is he of whom it is written, Behold, I send my messenger before thy face, which shall prepare thy way before thee. For I say unto you, among those that are born of women, there is not a greater prophet than John the Baptist, but he that is least in the kingdom of God is greater than he. And all the people that heard him and all the publicans justified God, being baptized with the baptism of John. But the Pharisees and lawyers rejected the counsel of God against themselves, being not baptized of him. And does that surprise you? And the Lord said, Whereunto then shall I liken the men of this generation, and to what are they like? They are like unto children sitting in the marketplace, and calling one to another, and saying, We have piped unto you, and ye have not danced. We have mourned to you, and you have not wept. For John the Baptist came neither eating bread nor drinking wine, and ye say, He hath a devil? The Son of Man is come, eating and drinking, and ye say, Behold, a gluttonous man, and a winebibber, a friend of the publicans and sinners. But wisdom is justified of all her children. And one of the Pharisees desired him that he would eat with them, and he went into the Pharisee's house and sat down to meat. And behold, a woman in the city, which was a sinner, when she knew that Jesus sat at meat in the Pharisee's house, brought an alabaster of ointment, and stood at his feet behind him, weeping, and began to wash his feet with tears, and did wipe them with the hairs of her head. And she kissed his feet, and anointed them with the ointment. Now when the Pharisees which had bidden him saw it, he spake within himself, saying, This man, if he were a prophet, would have known who and what manner of woman this is that toucheth him, for she is a sinner. And Jesus answering said unto him, Simon, I have somewhat to say unto thee. And he said, Master, say on. Jesus said, there was a certain creditor which had two debtors. The one owed 500 pence, and the other one owed 50 pence. And when they had nothing to pay, he frankly forgave them both. Tell me, therefore, which of them will love him the most? Simon answered and said, I suppose that he to whom he forgave most. And Jesus said unto him, Thou hast rightly judged. And he turned to the woman and said unto Simon, Seest thou this woman? I entered into thine house, and thou gavest me no water for my feet, but she hath washed my feet with tears, and wiped them with the hairs of her head. Thou gavest me no kiss, but this woman, since the time I came in, hath not ceased kissing my feet. My head with oil thou didst not anoint, but this woman hath anointed my feet with ointment. Wherefore I say unto thee, her sins, which are many, are forgiven, for she loved much. But to whom little is forgiven, the same loveth little. And he said unto her, Thy sins are forgiven. And they that sat at meat with him began to say within themselves, Who is this that forgiveth sins also? They didn't have a clue that God was in their midst. And he said to the woman, Thy faith hath saved thee. Go in peace. Bam, y'all. That was some good stuff right there. I'll tell you what, that chapter 6 and 7 of Luke is some good stuff. It shows, as does many other scriptures, the love and compassion and forgiveness of Jesus. I thank God for him. I thank God for him. That's why when I get to heaven, I'm going to spend 10,000 years with him before I go see my daughter and my mom and my dad. And I'm anxious to see them. I miss them a lot. But Jesus, he has done so much for me. He saved my wretched old soul. And it's to him I'm going to be running. I could sit here and talk to y'all all day. I look forward to us all getting together someday in England or wherever. I don't care. Somewhere here in the States, wherever works out. We need to get together, friends. We'll have a good old time. All right, that's it for now. That's it for today. I'll talk to y'all in the morning, if the good Lord's willing, and rapture doesn't happen between now and then. I'm ready. I hope you're ready. Love y'all.